Hi, I'm Kate. Welcome back to my channel where I discuss homeschooling. My video today is on a topic I never thought I would make because I never thought I would really consider moving away from the Good and the Beautiful curriculum until my daughter was older. I know they have been making middle school curriculum recently, and I know they're expanding, but I figured we would just be in it for all of elementary school. But next year we are actually moving to a Charlotte Mason type homeschooling. I never thought I would say that either because I had all these preconceived notions about it. But what actually got me started down considering it was looking at adding to our regular core of Good and the Beautiful math and language arts. And I had looked before at Simply Charlotte Mason enrichment books last year, but I thought it was too much. I thought, oh no, it's going to be too much in terms of time and too much, and I just wasn't ready. But I was interested in again this year because it seemed like it offered so many different topics already for me, and I looked at it and I studied, what was going to be involved in each of those packages and all of the different topics that it covered. And I felt very confident with that, so I made out my list for next year, and it included the Good and the Beautiful math and the beautiful language arts, and I had a science anatomy book from a friend of mine, and I said, okay, we're going to do anatomy next year, and then I added the enrichment to my list, and I was also thinking, okay, I have a Good and the Beautiful history, so that will be it. And I, of course, wanted to research a little bit more about the enrichment so that I was prepared when next year came, and so that meant going to Sonia Schaefer's YouTube channel. She owns Simply Charlotte Mason, and watching her and reading, listening about it, and she does actual examples of some of the enrichment studies on there, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in another video. But so, for example, she sat and did a picture study on the channel, and the more I learned about the enrichment, the more thrilled I was that I definitely wanted to incorporate that next year. Some of those topics that are included in the Simply Charlotte Mason enrichments would be a composer study, picture study, hymns, studying habits. You can do Shakespeare at a middle, elementary, and older. They recommend so many different things in there. Nature study would be another one too. Spanish or another foreign language. So the more I researched that, I was like, oh, I'm so excited. This is going to be really fun, and it's going to be planned out for me. The enrichment guide it's planned out. So. Okay, so that snowballed into, well, oh my goodness, they have math? Like, I wonder what that's about. So, looked into the math. Oh, no. I'm happy with the Good and the Beautiful. Nope. But I will look at their history and geography and Bible. So I looked at that, and I was really excited to see how they did history and geography and Bible, and they do with books, for history and living books. And they do the geography. They've got these geography packets that Sonia wrote, and you read books to go along with the geography sections from the different areas of the world. And so that was really exciting. And I said, okay, all right, well, we'll just do the enrichments and then the history geography Bible. You know where this is going. We are doing all Simply Charlotte Mason next year, with the exception of science. I am going to do anatomy still. But I'm not sure how I got here because I just did not see myself as a Charlotte Mason mom. I, again, had some preconceived notions about it, and the more I read about it, the more excited I got about it. So I did want to list off for you a couple of reasons that I'm convinced, really, that we discovered Charlotte Mason, I've heard about the Charlotte Mason method, but that I kind of did a deep dive on this method the last few months to see that it was definitely going to work really well for us next year. In fact, we have already switched over to their math. I've never done that. I've never switched at in the duration of a school year into a different type of curriculum. But I did it to see if it worked. And because I said if it doesn't work, I need to look for something else. But it worked, and I love it. So I made a list of a couple of reasons why the Charlotte Mason method has really appealed to me. And as I said, I've done some more research on it, which I'll do another video about. But here we go. Okay, so the first reason that I'm really excited for this is because there's very minimal writing for young elementary students. There's very little writing for math, very little writing for language arts, and not very much writing elsewhere. There's no science workbooks and math worksheets and history pages to fill out. And it's so amazing because I do see in our daily homeschool, we don't do very much writing, but even just switching over just the math and cutting out some of the other stuff we were doing, I can already see that it makes our day go so much more smoothly because my daughter is not getting bogged down with how her letters look or her hand getting tired. But she's really concentrating more on the content instead of her writing. And so that will happen. More writing will take place once she's in 4th grade, because that is when they switch from oral narration to written narration. Now, she will be doing some math in her grid book next year for her Simply Charlotte Mason math. And she will also be doing continuing handwriting. Actually, we did cursive this year, so she's going to continue into one of the cursive copybooks next year, which is about hymns. So she's going to see the hymns and read the hymns, and then she's going to write those down. But until 4th grade, you do oral narration. That is the second thing that I'm really excited about for Charlotte Mason. It is that and again, I didn't understand a lot of this because I just never took the time to investigate. Again, I thought it was too much. But it's not. It's actually very simple. Narration is where I'm going to read something out loud to her as our family read aloud time, and I'm going to then ask her some very broad questions, and she is going to give me a response, not regurgitating to me what I read, but having listened to it, she's going to tell me back in her own words what she heard and what she learned. And so in that repackaging, right, where she hears me and then repackages it to speak it out loud to me, it actually becomes her own. And she's more likely to remember that. And so that's part of the Charlotte Mason method. And I find that to be very intriguing. And honestly, it does work because I tended to do a lot of free tutoring for my friends in high school and college. And unbeknownst to me, I was actually kind of utilizing the Charlotte Mason method at the time, which was if I had to teach it to another person, I had to know it really well. Even now, as a grown-up, I know that if I'm going to teach a class, or if I'm going to teach a ladies' Bible study or church history or speak at a conference or something, I have to know it well enough in order to share it with another person, because I want to make sure that I'm responsible in what I'm sharing. That is me owning it first in order to then teach another person. That's what she's doing with her oral narration. She is not feeling that weight of responsibility, but she is being forced to think about it herself instead of just answering a true-false question or a short answer question or something like that, which we would naturally call reading comprehension questions. But there are other ways to comprehend stuff than just a multiple choice answer. And so that's how the oral narration works. So that is the one of the components of language arts. And since it's oral, that's less writing for her age. And I find that to be so fascinating because, again, we're not getting bogged down in all of the writing. Another reason that I'm really excited for the Charlotte Mason is the math as well. So the math is also not heavy on the writing either, but holding lots of materials and lots of real life questions and real life examples of math. And so we did went ahead and I purchased the Simply Charlotte Mason Math 1. The scope and sequence is a little different than what we did with Good and the Beautiful. So I'm going to go back a little ways and then go forward so that we're in the same kind of place, making up again for the order is different between the two companies. But so far, I'm really, really enjoying it because she is focused on my voice in doing these math problems orally or with some materials that are out in front of her. And so having the manipulatives and focusing mainly on what I'm saying instead of looking at numbers on pages or having the word problems, which she never struggled with word problems, but just the sheer amount of writing down the answers was a lot. And she's doing much better with the oral math than she did with the written math, which again, she did really well on, but a 45-minute math lesson is too long. That is another thing that I am really excited about this year is the short lessons, because number 5, there's a focus on habits. The habit of attention, Sonia talks about having a full attention on a particular topic. And so with that full attention, you can only have short lessons. But if that kid is really engaged and really paying attention for that short time, you do get through the entire lesson. So it's really amazing that we are going to have fully focused. The lesson doesn't need to be 45 minutes because she's fully focused. And then we are able to get our entire lesson done in 15 to 20 minutes. So those are 5. The next is the introduction to a wide range of topics. I actually had a friend recommend a book to me. So it was 8 Great Smarts by Kathy Koch. And I talked about how we're all born with like these innate kind of gifts. And when your children are young, they sometimes are introduced to something in particular that will spark some of that the natural gift that they have, whether it's art or logic or nature, the spoken word, the written word, all these different, there's 8, these different areas. And that really was a very interesting book to me. I found it to be very helpful in affirming some of the things that I already thought about my daughter and where her talents and gifts lied this year, but also in cultivating some of the other ones and not squelching those. But also, I want to introduce her to all those things. So that's actually another area of Charlotte Mason that would appeal to me because I was already down this path of that, which was really giving her a wide range of topics that don't take a lot of time. Those are the enrichments, picture study, composer study. Those may take 10 to 15 minutes a week. So, which again, that's not something I really understood, was that it was such a short period of time every single week. But again, it's introducing your child to these things over time. And so the wide range of topics, the hymns and the music study and Shakespeare and handicrafts. So, having a video on how to sew, having a video on paper crafts, having a video on watercolor or woodworking. So all those things, but because every child learns so differently or has different gifts, not every child is gifted in math, not every child is gifted in language arts. And so your child may find a way that they're gifted through some of these enrichment topics. And it also is a way to let your child know that people express themselves in all different ways. Some people are beautifully gifted at communication through the written word. Well, that's something that we have in our core. But not everyone's gifted in that kind of written word. Some people are gifted in poetry. Some people are gifted in playwriting. Some people are gifted in communicating through music. Some people are gifted in painting and conveying beauty in painting. Some people are more gifted with their hands and their crafts and things like that. So it's a great way to let your kids know there's all kinds of talents and they're all very valuable, especially if they're not in the core. It can get overlooked, right? And then the last reason is kind of living books. And I have done some research. There's so many great moms on YouTube who are into the Charlotte Mason type of teaching style. And I've listened to many of them talk about living books. And we have done a lot of those ourselves, but I have not tried in a curriculum that's really around that type of book. And so we're going to get into that next year, especially the Simply Charlotte Mason Geography has a lot of good books that, a book may be taking place in Sweden and you're currently studying Europe. So those take you around the continent together. But those are some of the reasons that it appealed to me. So I'm really excited to see how this works out for us next year. I have already planned our days because I looked at the suggested time for each of the topics and I wrote it down because I really didn't think that we would be able to get it done in a short period of time. And I don't want long formal days. I don't want 3 or 4 hours of sitting down. And if we are going to branch out past, language arts and math, and we were doing Bible this year and a little bit of science and geography and memory work, I just didn't personally think we would be able to fit it all into a short-ish school day, right? 2 to 3 hours, less than 2.5 preferably. And by goodness, it does. It fits into that. And so that's why I wrote it out. I said, I don't want to get excited unless it's actually going to work into a shortish day for us. And it does. And we'll see how it actually happens because, of course, your plans are never actually happen. My plans for this year, we did our core. We did some of the other things that I wanted to sprinkle in this year, like some of our geography, and we did really well with our Bible, which was the Faithopedia by Not Consumed, the New Testament. So we've done really well with those things, but some of the other stuff just, went away. But hopefully it will go as planned next year. And I'll leave you with one last thing about Charlotte Mason. Before I actually said 100% let's do it, I tried my first poetry tea time. And it was so much fun. I have been totally missing out. I've been missing out on poetry tea time because it was so fun to just get all the little snacks together, some pretzels and grapes and strawberries and carrots. And it was so sweet. And we actually did it outside and got the plates and some ice water. We did it on a lunch break so my husband could come too. And I just read poetry and we had little snacks. And I'm considering next year. I know that the Simply Charlotte Mason guide has some of the enrichment sprinkled throughout the week, and I'm going to keep some of them that way, like habits or foreign language, and I think maybe one more. But the bulk of them, I actually think I could get done during kind of a tea time, or our picture study and composer and poetry, kind of all around that. Maybe practice some Spanish while we're sitting at the table together. So actually trying it really helped me feel confident that this is what's going to happen for us next year. So there you go. I'm switching to Charlotte Mason next year. I'm not nervous anymore. I initially was because I've done Good and the Beautiful for 5 years, but I'm not nervous anymore. I'm very, very excited. And also, I don't like the idea of bouncing from one curriculum to the other. I've always been against that because I like the stability and because our curriculum worked for our family. My daughter went through all of the reading cards, the reading booster card program with Good and the Beautiful, and learned to read at a very young age from that. And she reads for fun now. She was just in her room reading a book on her bed. It's so strange. That's what she loves doing all the time. She loves being outside. She likes movies. She likes playing with Legos and other things, but she also really enjoys reading. So I am so thankful to that program for really kind of effortlessly teaching her to read, and never thought I would switch from it. So we are going to try Simply Charlotte Mason next year. Now, if you have not looked at it before, I'll try to link it below because there is it's very well laid out, the website, about how their program works. And you can pick one or all pieces. Like I said, we're not going to be doing the science next year. And there are multiple 6 years, actually, of history, multiple enrichment years. And you kind of pick what works for you and what interests you. So I'm not really decided which year of history we're going to start with because we have done some Egyptian history and some other things, and I'm not sure which enrichment year we'll start with, but that doesn't really matter. If you have a wide range of children, all of the books, all the guides work from kindergarten to senior year. So that's not something you need to worry about if you are looking on there. So anyway, Charlotte Mason, you guys, let's do it, I guess. Anyway, if you are really into homeschool channels and this is the kind of content you're looking for, please click like and subscribe down below. And I'll have some more stuff coming up for you. I'm hoping to talk a little bit more about the different elements of the Charlotte Mason and how I really learned about how amazing it is and the books I've been reading about it and the YouTube channels I recommend. And then how it goes when we get started and stuff like that. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you later.